Hello, this is Lenora Acosta, curator and historian for Longue Vue House and Gardens in New Orleans. We're back in the paper archives to look at birthday memorabilia for our founder, Edith Rosenwald Stern. Edith's birthday is May 31st, 1895, so if she were alive today, she'd be 125 years old. Right now, we are looking at a photograph from the 1920s of Edith and her daughter Audrey, and Edith is sitting in the birthday chair. This is a tradition that she brought from her family, the Rosenwalds, where you would decorate a chair from the home with cuttings and flowers in honor of the birthday person. They would sit in it for photographs like this. It might have been filled with presents during a birthday party. They might have sat in it for a birthday meal. Just a fun way of honoring that person's birthday. Right now, we're going to take a look at two large scrapbooks that the Stern children put together for Edith for her 70th birthday. So we're moving a few decades into the 1965 era. Right now, we're looking at a photograph of the president of Dillard University, Dr. Dent, and his wife, a letter they sent. So the Stern kids just wrote to everyone they could think of who they thought might be interested in wishing their mother happy birthday for her 70th birthday. We have typewritten messages, we have handwritten messages, we have ones that include photographs. Here's a photograph of Edith from a costume party that her friends threw her in the mid-60s. If you notice, she's wearing a really fun hat there of a fountain, because in the 1960s she is starting to talk about and think about how to open Longue Vue as a home and a museum. So the fountains were definitely part of that discussion. We have letters from grandchildren mixed in. So it's a fun book that has lots of different topics, an array of individuals. It's really a good way of seeing who the Sterns interacted with. It also has some wonderful pieces that are by artists that the Sterns helped to support. So this is a note and card, photograph, and record from a woman named Annabelle Bernard. So Annabelle Bernard was an opera student at Xavier University that Edith heard during a concert, and Edith thought she was so amazing she needed to make sure she continued and became the star of the show, the soprano. She actually did this by being the soprano for the Berlin Opera. The record here, I don't know if any of y'all remember, you used to be able to go to a record store and record records. So this right here is actually a recording Annabelle made of her singing Happy Birthday with a little note to Edith. Edith helped support Annabelle when she moved to Europe. As an African American, she was not welcomed in a lot of the operas in the United States, but in Europe she was much more sort of accepted, and so Edith helped to sort of give her a stipend to support her while she was working to become that soprano. They continued to be friends the rest of Edith's life. So we're going to move on to actually the next book over here. Here's another interesting story. If you've been to Longue Vue, you might have been to the back of our playhouse and seen a bunch of wonderful cards for birthdays, different holidays. They're all by a man named Francis Soika. This is another Francis Soika card. He was a friend of the Sterns. He was an Eastern European tennis pro who immigrated to the United States around the time of World War II. And he not only was a tennis pro, but he loved to make cards and these little poems. So definitely an interesting little card here. They're very fun. This is actually a piece by a woman named Lilian Florsheim. Lilian Florsheim is sort of a counterpart to Edith. They're about the same age, and she was from New Orleans and moved to Chicago, and Edith from Chicago and moved to New Orleans. They were good friends. They mainly were friendship developed over support of contemporary artists. Lilian Florsheim helped to introduce Edith to a lot of artists, including folks like this gentleman. This is Victor Vasarely, so we have a lot of work of his down in our modern art gallery. Another artist that we have artwork by is Jean Arp. So here's a little drawing by Jean Arp and his birthday wishes. And then the last little piece I wanted to show you is more of a note from Caroline Dormon. So Caroline Dormon is a naturalist from North Louisiana, and she helped to do a lot of the work of the native plants that we have on site. She actually became friends with the Sterns in the 1930s, and it continued through the rest of her life. They helped to publish her first book, and she definitely was a fascinating woman in her own right for all of her knowledge on making sure that invasive species were hopefully kept at bay, first woman to work for the National Park Service, things like that. So I hope you've enjoyed some of these fun small tidbits that we have here at Longue Vue for this birthday. And I hope if you're celebrating a birthday at the moment, you get to have fun, maybe decorate a chair, write some letters to friends, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.